In this video, we will talk about mistakes that amateur Zed players do and all the advanced and smart things experienced Zed players do. I made a video in the past talking about the difference between a good Zed player and a bad Zed player, and today I thought that I would make a more detailed version about the difference of beginner Zed players versus experienced Zed players. First I will talk about what amateur Zed players do in a certain situation, and then I will talk about what experienced Zed players do in that same situation. So the first thing are runes. Beginner Zed players take the same rune page every single game. This is not the biggest mistake that you can make, but a lot of the time just changing a thing or two in your rune setup can make a difference about winning or losing the whole game. A beginner Zed player is going to take the electrocute rune page that he copied from a website every single game without changing a single thing. When they start to understand Zed better, they are going to use maybe two rune pages, an electrocute rune page for squishier champions and a conqueror rune page for tankier enemies. Experienced Zed players not only use more rune pages, but they change small things in them depending on the enemy laner or the enemy team composition. For this thing to understand, you need a lot of experience with Zed. Let's see an example. In this game, I'm laning against Lucian. I know that I will win the laning phase if I just survive until level 6. At level 6, I have a huge power spike and I can kill Lucian easily. The thing that I decided to do is to change my rune page a bit so that I can survive the early levels. I took Resolve secondary with bomb plating and overgrowth. With just one combo from Lucian, I managed to block 90 damage, which is huge for early levels. That difference in runes made me survive laning phase and kill him later. My tip for you is to think what changes you can make in your rune page before going into every game. Eventually you will learn what's the best rune page for every situation and learn what works best for you. Every one of us has a different style and it's up to us to adapt to it. Beginner Zed players make the mistake at choosing what ability to take at level 2 with Zed. They take the same ability every single game and they don't really look at what is happening around them and in what position they are in right now. The difference can win you the whole laning phase. Experienced Zed players think about what they should take level 2. Look at this example. In this clip, I hold my level 2 and see what my jungler is going to do. If my jungler doesn't come to help me, I would max E so I can CS under turret more easily. Since Jarvan decided to come to help me, I max W so I can follow up the gank and burn Vladimir's flash. That allows me to later kill him and win the whole game just by maxing the right ability at the right time. Notice how Vladimir made the same mistake I was talking about earlier. He maxed E instead of W and had to use his flash for that. Amateur Zed players never seek for opportunities to engage on Zed. They only focus on what they have up, but never look at the abilities of their opponent. They engage when they shouldn't and lose the trade or just die. Focusing on your opponent's abilities with Zed is as important as focusing on your own abilities. Experienced Zed players always look at small opportunities to engage. They look if their opponent uses, for example, abilities to farm or to poke you, and use that knowledge to engage in times where your opponent has their abilities on cooldown. In this clip I hid in the fog of war so that LeBlanc can't see me. I assumed that she would use her W and ultimate to clear the wave because she thought that I backed. When she used all of her escape abilities, I knew that she doesn't have any escape left, so I engaged on her and earned an easy kill, which made me completely win the lane and game. This is a really good example of why you should always track the abilities of your opponents. If LeBlanc had her W and ultimate up, I could never catch her and it would be pointless to ult her. When beginner Zed players get a lead, they often tend to play too aggressive and trade kills when they shouldn't, or they tend to play too confident and dive turrets to give your enemy a shutdown and lose the whole game because of that. I think that this is the biggest mistake that new Zed players do. Getting a lead just to throw it all away because they think that they can take more than they actually can. Experienced Zed players, when they get a lead, they play precise and calculated. They don't take many risks and they pressure the enemy team as much as they can. When you get a huge lead on Zed, it's important to know that your deaths are much worse than if you are not fed. You always need to look at the map and engage only when you are sure that you can pick up an easy kill and extend your lead. When you have a huge advantage on Zed, try to take the enemy jungle monsters, deny as much vision as you can and camp bushes so your enemy can't freely walk in their territory, and that will make them lose a lot of experience and gold. On that way you pressure the enemy team so much that they don't know what they should do and feel like the only option they have left is surrendering the game. Amateur Zed players don't really know where to position in teamfights. Instead of trying to come from somewhere where your opponent doesn't expect you, they just dive right in and try to force kill the AD carry, which is a huge mistake. Experienced Zed players try to find a good position to be in before every teamfight. Coming from behind when the teamfight starts is one of the best things you can do as Zed. If your opponents focus on the front line, you can surprise them coming from the back line and one-shot a carry with just WEQ. After that, you can use your ultimate on someone else. Positioning in teamfights is one of the key things to know if you want to win many games with Zed. Experienced Zed players seek places that are not warded and try to come into a teamfight where your opponents least expect you to come from. That's everything from me today. I hope you enjoyed watching. Only 28% of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so I would really appreciate you if you like my videos to do it too. Thanks for watching guys, and I will see you next time.